can't have the race yet.
Did you not watch it? Did you not watch it? I caught the most important part.
You know that.
I caught the end.
I gotta bring it up.
Too many keys, too much gear. Back in the old days, all you needed was a notepad.
Yeah, that ain't.
And I got a phone, a tripod, a recorder, big old camera.
What do you think, Jeff? Austin Dale.
Living out his Dale and her fantasies.
I want Amarillo bad. I want Amarillo and take it.
Oh, well, he did what he had to do to win. That's, you know, there's a lot of guys that would never do that and they don't win. So,
That's Earnhardt move.
yeah. I don't think Chase Elliott would do that. And you notice he hasn't won. So,
What about Kyle? You think Kyle?
Kyle, not really. He don't need to. He's always got the best car.
He's fussing. I said, well, you know, his name's in the record books. You know, he's the winner.
He did what he had to do to win. And, you know, by the end of the year, nobody will remember that. They'll just remember who won.
Oh, but for the rest of our life, oh, he won the Daytona 500.
Yeah. I taught that girl everything she knows. We sit out in the yard and we do that together. In symmetry. That was a pretty big deal. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, it's 1:30. I'll call this February budget meeting to order. If the secretary would, please call roll for the record.
Jeff Barrett,
Here.
Eugene Christian,
Here.
Glenda Davis,
Here.
Darrell Gillum,
Here.
Linda Kimbrough, Bob Palmer,
Here.
Stacy Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, all members are present, constituting a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll now entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda for this February 20th, 2018. Motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Christian. All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll now entertain a motion for approval of Budget Committee meetings for the November 20th, 2017, December 18th, 2017, and there was no Budget Committee meetings for 2018. I'll entertain that motion at this time. Motion by Commissioner Palmer, seconded by Commissioner Christian. All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Getting straight into our order of business, we're going to discuss this deferred compensation plans, and I'll now turn it over to. Give me
Justin Ball.
Justin Ball.
Yeah,
I
that's all right.
apologize.
That's all right.
I apologize, Justin.
It's on there.
And before Justin speaks, just a reminder to the committee. The committee had asked for information on the TCRS deferred compensation plan, and which is the 457B plan, and they also offer a 401k plan. The budget committee recommended approval of this back in October. To go to the full commission, once we got the resolutions from TCRS, it was too late for the November agenda, and with December being a short month, we just delayed it until January. So at the January meeting is when Mr. Ball was there to answer questions, and I think there was a little bit of confusion with the county commission as well as the employees. The county currently has Nationwide as our deferred compensation provider. As I mentioned, the budget committee had requested information. You had heard presentation about 2.5 years ago, I think, about the TCRS deferred compensation plan. The budget committee requested more information, so Justin had presented back in October cost savings analysis, some advantages to the TCRS deferred compensation plan. So with TCRS, they do not allow other plans, other deferred compensation plans along with TCRS. So I just wanted to give a little introduction before Justin starts again. The chairman had asked that we put these resolutions back on the February agenda, so they're on there, and I'll turn it over to Justin to go from there.
I think, Justin, just to reiterate what she said back in, I think it was 2014, maybe early 15, Budget Committee had recommended going on with this resolution presented to full county commission. Somehow or another, the ball got dropped, and we revisited. And from what we've studied with it, it seems like a good thing for the employees. Like I said, it's merely a benefit for the employees. It's optional. They can be a part of it, or they don't have to be a part of it. It's just an optional retirement. Justin, I'll let you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I believe, when we came last time, we had run a fee comparison in probably over the summer, somewhere around last summer. We always like to do that, and came back with pretty significant fee savings from the current plan, about 68% or over 68% savings for the employee through our plan compared to the current plan. So with that information, just wanted to move forward with presenting it, and of course we came back in October, presented it to you all and then to the full commission last month. But I think there are some definite benefits to the plan to changing over. The first one being on the employer side of the county, it removes that fiduciary responsibility, and so puts that on the state. You're joining the state of Tennessee's plan, and so the state takes on that fiduciary responsibility. And the county has the responsibility basically to remit and report. So they remit the funds that have been collected and report that, and then the state handles the rest of the fiduciary responsibility. We will monitor the funds quarterly. So we're going to get a team together, group together that does this with PCRS, and they would monitor the funds that we have for the deferred compensation plan and make recommendations from there. If we have one that is underperforming, we will put it on one. If we have one that goes too long underperforming, we'll pull that fund and replace it. So you don't have continuously underperforming funds in your plan. That's the idea behind that. Like I said, TCRS does that currently for the defined benefit, and That's the biggest advantage from an employer standpoint. From the employee standpoint, as I mentioned earlier, it's the cost savings. The fee structure, any deferred compensation plan that you have, there's going to be some kind of administrative fee along with that. There's going to be an administrative fee along with that. With the state's plan, it is large. All your state employees and your teachers across the state are in that plan, so it helps lower that fee structure. At the same time, the state really basically charges the administration fee. You know, we're non-commissioned, so they're basically providing a service and charging what it costs for rent. They're not in it for a profit or anything like that. So very low fee structure. And the other big advantage, I think, to the plan for the employee is when they go to retire, and then when they call one number, they can talk to someone about TCRS, and they can talk to someone about their deferred compensation plan, and get a comprehensive retirement plan together. So they call and they say, this is my TCRS, this is my Social Security, and this is my deferred compensation. That's one call that they can do. They go sit down with a retirement counselor before they retire, and they can really have a good idea as far as what kind of income they will have. You know, pulling a check from TCRS and then how much they have in deferred compensation as well. So there's lots of benefits to it, but those are the highlights, I think. Fee structure and just comprehensive education. We also come out routinely and talk about TCRS as well as the deferred compensation and how those work together.
Some of the questions that I got from employees, I think there was some confusion. Some of them had called under the perception that maybe we were doing away with their TCRS when we were going to this 401k. This, although it's controlled by the Department of Treasury, this has nothing to do with an employee's TCRS that an employee and an employer here has committed to as far as their retirement. This is only an option if an employee wishes to further go in with their savings for their 457 and their retirement. It's just managed by the same department that manages our TCRS retirement. So this is not replacing and is not affecting the current TCRS retirement that employees have. This is only an added benefit if an employee chooses to participate in the plan.
Yeah, have no impact on our current TCRS defined benefit plan.
And we've had a similar plan nationwide since 1986, something
And
like
on
that.
either plan, there's no cost to the county. This is 100% employee, like you said. No cost to the county.
How many employees are on that deferred retirement?
On nationwide, it's low right now. There's 12 employees.
12 employees out of roughly, how many full-time do we have? 220?
Yeah,
Maybe.
or more between your general fund, highway, solid waste. I think we're close to 250 full-time.
250. How will this affect current retirees that are already retired that are receiving the nationwide? And how is this going to, what will this do? Anything, or is that already?
Do they?
They would roll over as well.
They roll over
Yeah.
their plan.
So, I don't know, I think there was 30 something, somewhere in that neighborhood, total, so I guess 20 something
Right.
that are retired, that would roll into the plan as well. But again, it's a lower fee structure, for them too. So.
I know there was some issue at the last commission meeting when it was presented. This is a solely voluntary program. Have you talked to any office holders or?
I talked to several employees that were in the current plan, after the meeting last time, I think there were probably 3 or 4. And so kind of explained it, did not really have a whole lot of, negative reactions to what our plan would be. And I'm gonna stay around today and talk to anyone else. Nicole sent out an email, so, anyone that has concerns or questions, I'm happy to have no other appointments today, so that's what I'm here to do, answer any questions, so, I'm happy to address any issues that they might have.
Okay. Anybody else on the committee have any questions?
Is Does any office holders have any word you like to put in?
Mr. Collier?
I'd like to go over to do this plan, with the state.
Excuse me, can you speak into the mic, because we can't hear you.
My voice is up now. I would like to roll over to the plan, because I've got money sitting out there when I left the state that I can't add to because we're not members of 401K, so I highly recommend that we go with it where I can continue to contribute to it. I am part of the nationwide plan now, but I will, that money that I've got with nationwide will roll over, plus the money I already had out there, to make money. And if, correct me if I'm wrong, employees can borrow from
The 401K, there is a loan option.
yeah, and with nationwide, you have to have doctor's letters, it has to be an emergency circumstance, and I mean, they give you a hard time to get it down. I've tried it. With them, you can actually borrow from them. It's an easy process.
That's what the 401K was. 457 is still difficult, but if they put money in the 401K, they can do a loan option with it.
All right, thank you. Any other committee members have any questions? Like I said, Mr. Ball will be here for us.
Justin, do you want to discuss, didn't you say you all renegotiate rates every so often and your fixed rate actually went up, is that correct?
Yes, so it was, several years ago, it was 2.1% fixed rate. We renegotiated that, I believe about 3 years ago to up to 3.2. And we will renegotiate that in 2 years. And our hope is that it will go up again. A couple of indicators that show that it might would be that we have more people in the plan. Now, so the more money that comes into the plan, the more bargaining power we have to drive fees down and to drive the returns and for the fixed account up. So that's our hope. So in a couple of years, 2020, that will be renegotiated on a fixed rate. One other thing I'll add, I don't know if there's any others in his situation, but if they have money sitting out of a state 401K or 457, they could start participating again. You know, you may be the only one that's in that boat, but if there's anyone else that is in that situation, I would think out of 200 employees, you very well may have some other folks in that same position. So.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move right along. You'll be around for a little while.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll lock her in here.
Let's look at the budget here in Cal.
Mr. Chairman, the reason I have listed this as an agenda item is because it was asked in a previous committee meeting, have you already started working on the next year's budget? And the reason, last year, I don't know if you all remember, you passed a lot of resolutions since then, but actually the county government as well as the Board of Education did pass a budget resolution calendar kind of setting. I'll just wait just a minute so it might needs to go see Justin and and I can make copies of this for you all if you want, but we had, the state just last year had some prescribed new deadlines for this is what your budget timeline needs to be. If you're going to do something other than that, you need to pass a resolution to that effect. Well, of course, their timeline is always passing a budget to be effective July 1. But that had not been the trend for Hawkins County for several years, according to Miss Evelyn. So we had set a calendar as far as from the county government standpoint that by March 1st, we would have all the budget forms out to the elected officials and department heads. And so we're working along this timeline. I know this is an election year, so with that being the case, we were trying to kind of look at the calendar on, and I know you have an idea about how the budget hearings will go this year. I mean, we at least try to give them, we gave them about a month. Once we gave the forms out for them to have it back to us on here, we've got by April 1 that they turn the forms back into our office. And then by June 1, the budget committee shall have voted on the county departments and agencies' proposed budgets and the steps that if it's approved or if it's rejected, we include in here by June budget committee meeting that they shall hear the Board of Education budget proposal. So we do have a resolution that tells us our timeline for our budget process. That's why we hadn't already started the budget process, because, unless we choose to change this process, I'm assuming that's the timeline we'll go by. So I wanted to mention that to you. At this point, we're working on the budget worksheets. We'll have them out to them by next week. We'll still give them about that same time frame to turn that in. And of course, the more revenue information that we have from the trustee's office, the better idea we'll have of how to project. So we'll definitely want, if possible, have the March revenue. So that would mean we would get that report from the trustee somewhere around the 10th of April. Because the more revenue we have, that's very important since we're still in the early stages of the additional wheel tax collection process. We want to see if we've got a stable trend for these months, because initially we had several that we've been renewed early. So we want to see if we've got a stable, steady revenue stream to give an accurate revenue projection. And of course, by next week, all the property tax deadline will have hit, so I think we'll have a pretty good idea of how our revenue collections coming in for property taxes through February. So, one thing though you have mentioned, and I'm sure you talked with the committee, is you might do budget hearings a little different this year. You're interested in all county commissioners hearing all departments so that they can see the full process. Is that still your?
That's correct. I think that'll streamline the process.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll just go along that plan, and I guess we can look at calendars later. We don't have to do that right now, but we're going along the plan of we're gonna have the forms out to everybody before March 1st. So by next week, all the elected officials, department heads will have their budget forms from us with the deadline of when to get that back in with us.
Well, if we set the hearings middle of May, does that push us out too far?
You just may have to have your budget hearings all close together and be ready to make decisions. I don't know if the comptroller is gonna order us to have a budget passed by July 1 this year or not. We're not that far into the process. I mean, we were ordered, but we were sort of under more special circumstances, for the 17-18 budget. So, I don't know if we're going to be under that order, but I think having hearings in May will be fine. We can wait till after the primary and then set our dates.
I'd rather not do that, because if I'm expecting 21 commissioners to try to attend, I'd like to give them enough heads up.
Okay.
So they can plan to be off work, to be there instead of going it on 2 weeks till. So if we can
So
set
you wanna
those
look at some
dates.
preliminary dates now for May, to just get that on this committee's calendar and.
You can do May 7th and 8th, or and the 14th, or the 14th, 15th, and 16th. But we'll probably still have to have a third day in there or something.
True revenue
Did you say 7 and 8?
with the wheel tax
Is
and
that what you
everything.
said?
Yeah, 7th and 8th.
Those would be days that we can handle it here.
Yeah.
Would we need 3 days?
We've always taken 3 days, and you have to remember, you're gonna have more people who's gonna be asking more questions, so it's probably gonna take longer.
Right.
So I would schedule 3 days.
Mhm.
So those 3 days, 7, 8, and 9 are good on our calendar here.
I mean, the Friday,
Well, if you're gonna do 7th, 8th, and 9th,
I wouldn't be available on the 9th.
what about the 11th?
The 11th, we have a solid waste committee meeting that day.
So,
On the 14th, we have a budget committee, a regular budget committee on that day.
Regular budget committee's on 21st.
Yeah,
Regular budget committee meeting's on
14th.
It's on the 21st, eh?
21st.
Well,
It'll be on Tuesday.
Grant County Commission will be on the 21st, because the 28th is a holiday.
Oh, okay.
So the 21st is county commission, and 14th is budget. County commission.
9 a.m.
No, county commission is
And
at
then
9.
it's 7 a.m. It's gonna be
Yeah, that'll be set at 9 a.m. in the morning.
9 a.m.
What about the 7th, 8th, and the 18th?
Always go to 14, 15, 16, 18.
It's probably working this week.
What day are you looking at?
14th.
The week of the 14th?
I'm scheduled to work that whole week.
I'm available the whole week, but she's scheduled that week.
The only day that week I've got is the 17th. If we do it the 7th and 8th and the 17th,
That's,
We can reschedule this meeting right here. That's our ocean meeting, and we have to have one more time, because we didn't last time. We just have to schedule it another day.
Well, and then you'll want the notebooks delivered probably, I mean, you'll want them the week before, won't you?
Get them right here.
yeah.
We're closed
First is
first.
closed, we're closed, that's election day, okay, so the offices are closed that day. Stacy can only do she can't hear. He can't hear.
I do the 17th. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna be here. They have-
You're having a solid waste committee on the 11th.
We have solid waste on the 11th. Now, if you want me to, I can see if I can reschedule that, I don't think that'll be a problem. We could either move it up or down, either one, I think.
Let's plan on moving to solid waste.
Let's try that 7th, 8th, and 11th. I'd like to keep it all that week if possible.
No, we'll do it, we'll do it.
I'm assuming one of those is gonna be nonprofit days, which will take a while.
Okay, so it's 7, 8, and 11.
9 o'clock.
That ought to give everybody plenty of time, make arrangements ahead of time. Okay, we good on that? All right, we'll get right into this month's resolution. First resolution pertaining to budgetary items 2018-0201. And it's introduced by Fred Castle and Mike Rail. Are they here? Once again, it's a resolution, every licensed driver 70 years of age and older be exempt from the latest $40 wheel tax passed in October 17th. This resolution.
Chairman, can I speak on that in a second, sir?
Yes, sir.
Please, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just need to clarify some things on this budget resolution here. Last year about this time, this committee, now y'all correct me if I'm wrong, this committee was handed the job to prepare a budget to send to the full commission. And Mr. Shane Bailey was on the budget committee then, and y'all worked real hard and prepared a budget. I think the commission voted down, once, twice? Did you vote it down twice? But anyway, I was asked
He
to sit on the
attempted to
budget.
present the wheel tax multiple months.
I was asked to sit on the budget committee and I did, I have. But anyway, I went out in my district and talked to some people and talked to them about that was gonna have to raise the wheel tax, and talked to you all and talked to some people we know, and they wasn't real happy. They asked me, said, go back and get all the cuts you can. And then after you feel like you've cut all you can, we understand you're going to have to raise the wheel tax. So I feel like we come back and I presented you all some things, and there was, what, $700,000 more cut? And that's as far as we could go. I mean, I knew that, so I jumped on board with your wheel tax hike. I didn't want to, but I knew I had to. I knew we was pushed in the corner and we had to do it. You know, a lot of people are going to say, well, we need the state to come in. No, I don't feel like we need the state to come in. I don't feel like we need to lose none of our emergency services and stuff. But anyway, I'm saying that to say this. We set that budget. We worked on that budget. We set that budget where we was expecting the money to start coming in the following month on the wheel tax, right?
2 months after passage.
They set up, I mean, they got a petition going, so we were 3 months behind to start with. But I'm saying that to say that there ain't nobody on this committee want to raise the wheel tax. I didn't want to raise it, nobody did. It was something we had to do. But these resolutions, I went out in my district and talked to people. It bothered me bad because I raised this wheel tax, and I realized some of these older people, the way it's presented to us down the tube, it bothered me. So I went out in my district. The last 3 days, I've probably put 150 miles on the vehicle. And the 6th district starts at Carroll Grocery, Carroll Real Estate on 11W. On the left-hand side of the road, it starts at Melinda's Ferry and goes all the way to Mooresburg, goes across the mountain, well, all the way to Mooresburg, back up across the mountain and all the way up. So I got in the truck and took off, and I was talking to people about this situation, about the resolution we got now. And if you'll drive down, and I'm going to do a lot of assuming and a lot of my opinion, so this is not dead on. But if you'll drive down in my district, down 11W, you're going to see houses, and I know 70% of people in my district, I know them personally, but you're going to see houses anywhere range from $100,000 a piece to $700,000-800,000 homes, all the way down. I mean, and I went in subdivisions and I looked and I said, so and so lives here. $40 is not going to make or break them, I don't believe. That's my opinion. Well, I go on around and I said, well, so and so lives here, and I don't think $40 is going to make or break them. So I went all the way to Mooresburg that way on the left-hand side of the road. Come back to Mooresburg and went up Eisenberg Lane, and then I got in the rural part of my district. And I seen where people was living in mobile home parks. People was living in storage buildings. They're living in campers. And I know some people, and I got to looking and I said, well, these people here, if anybody needs a wheel tax break, it's these people that I'm seeing. They don't got to be something to need a wheel tax break. So I got to thinking and got to driving and talking to some people, and I talked to some people 70 years old, and I told them what I was doing, and I wasn't politicking. I was trying to get what they wanted done. And 75% of all the 70-year-olds told me, said, you might need to look at other ways, because $40 is not going to hurt me, and it ain't going to hit me. You've already passed the wheel tax, and they wasn't mad at me. Said, you've already passed the wheel tax. Leave it alone. Well, I kept traveling, and I kept saying this, and in my opinion, we're going about this the wrong way. We're picking out, we're trying to pick out people to knock $40 off the wheel tax, and we're going to be a respected persons if we don't watch what we're doing. What I'm trying to say is, if you go down the left-hand side of my road, my district, or down 11W, very, very, very few people down through there, very few people. and I'm trying to say this nice, very few of those people, the Lord ain't blessed and they're in good shape, is what I'm trying to say, in my opinion. But you get back in these hollers and stuff where I went, and back in these back roads, and you see some of the stuff I've seen, and you got a heart like I've got. I don't want to give this a tax break, and I go over here and somebody's living on $15,000 a year and got 2 kids and needs work done on their house real bad, or the mobile home, or living in a house that needs a lot of work done to it. So, and this is the way I'm standing on this. If we're going to do anything, if we want to do anything, and I wish Fred was here, what we need to do is get us a committee together, and like budget chairman, 1 or 2 of you all, the mayor, Miss Nicole there, and a few more, and get a committee together, and get our lawyer together, and if we can help somebody in a poverty some way or another, we won't be picking and choosing who we can help. The government will pick and choose that for us. But I feel like this resolution we're looking at, 70 and above, hey, my mama's 80 years old. She got license, insurance, and a car. And if she took a notion, she'd take off in it. But she told me the other day herself, and she's on the fixed income, she said, darn, $40 is not going to hurt me. And $40 is not going to help me. So I say that to say this. I cannot support this resolution the way it is, because I've got to know in my heart, if I go over here and help somebody that's got a $800,000 home and a boat and an airplane up Segorsville, but just because they're 70 years old, they need a $40 wheel tax break. But I can't go over here and help somebody that's driving a car that does good to get back and forth to Marshtown to work, that's got 2 youngins trying to make a living. I can't help them. That's not right to me, and I can't support that. I like to see, and I probably get some stink over this, but anyway, I cannot support 70 and above when I know where there's 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and I know where there's family that needs. That $40 would help some families I've seen. It would help a lot of families I know of, but they're not 70. You see what I mean? So I can't vote to give this 70-year-olds, and even my mother, 80-year-old, I can't vote to help her when she's saying I don't need it, and they're saying I don't need it. We need to help somebody else. So as far as my part as a county commissioner in the 6th district, I'm going to say no. I'm not supporting this resolution, and I think we need to look at it another way, that we don't pick and choose 70. At first it was 80, now it's down to 70, and our wheel tax is set. Well, we're not going. Somebody's going to have to pick up the slack. Am I right, Miss Nicole? Somewhere we're going to have to pick up the slack on this. But if we're going to do anything, let's look at it. Let's get a committee and get a lawyer, get our lawyer involved, and Mr. Bailey involved. Let's look at maybe get below the poverty line and try to help somebody in that. That's what I say to do, and please know, I'm 100% for our senior citizens, and even the lady back there can tell you. I want to get them a building and everything. I'm 100% for senior citizens. I love them, but in my opinion, we're going about this in the wrong way, and I don't think that this is going to work. I don't guess there'd be no lawsuits, but I cannot lay down and sleep at night time knowing some people that I know and ran into and talked to, knowing that I voted to give the 70-year-olds a $40 wheel tax break. I mean, I want to share that with you. That's how come that I feel the way I do, and I'm not going to change my mind on this. I might be the only one who votes no, but if a 70-year-old needs $40, Miss Nancy can call me, and I'll come over to the courthouse and pay them $40. I'd be glad to, and I know everyone of us will, but that's what I'm trying to say. We can't pick and choose who we're going to give a wheel tax break to if we're going to do it. So I believe this, of course, it's going to be brought up in the big commission meeting, but I think this thing needs to be sent on to the full commission with that this committee just sends it on and let the full commission vote on, but I don't think we need to send it with recommendation.
Well,
And I hope I'm not told nobody wrong. I mean, if you get out and ride in my district with me, you know, and there's some super good people. And I've got friends, I've got dear friends that it bothers me that I had to raise their $40. You know, it bothers me that I had to, but since they're all right with it, I feel better with it. And I've not had nobody jump on me, guys, and I've been out. Well, I've not had nobody in my district, I have in other districts, because they got sick on me, but what I'm trying to say, as far as me being a county commissioner until September 1st, I won't support that.
I feel along the same lines as you do, and also I agree with the statement that Commissioner John Metz made at the last meeting. We need to be looking at our budgetary responsibilities as working our county budget to where we wean ourselves away from this wheel tax and alleviate it for everybody. And like you said, not a select group. And however, if like Commissioner Metz said, it needed to be looked at, which you addressed there too, it needs to be looked at from a poverty level if you're going to reduce it for seniors. Vice Chairman Christian handed me a paper here that says seniors 65 and older in Hawkins County in poverty is 12%. 12% of 65 and older seniors that are in poverty is 12% in the county. So if we're going to do something, it needs to be, like you said, researched further. It needs to be done on a poverty level. It's my opinion. I'm on the same opinion as you, but I like what Commissioner Metz said, and I back him in that. We need to move forward in weaning ourselves off of this wheel tax for everybody. What we need to do.
well,
Well, the first thing I think you need to do is you need to find out about your numbers at the end of the year. Because your first quarter here, you got absolutely zero on your wheel tax. And it takes $532,500 a quarter to meet your projected, what you have in the budget for the wheel tax. Now, if you go back and you look at the first one, we lost $532,500. It's not there. You didn't collect not one penny. Now you go to the next October, November, December. Okay, you've got to collect. If you're going to hit your budget guideline, you've got to collect $177,500 a month. Now this is based on the wheel tax report, and I have every one of them right here, and I also have all the reports from the guy over here, Mr. Jim Shanks. I got all of his reports. Now, if you look at November, December, and January, we missed that target by $141,670. Now, if you go down and you look at January, you missed that target by $37,550. All total together, that's what you missed this year, and that's 7 months. You're short $712,020. So you really don't have any money to give somebody. So what you're going to have to do is wait to the end of the year till we get the next 5 months so we see where we at, to what we can do and what we cannot do. Because you put in our $2,130,000 and using their figures that they had last month when they were talking about the 80 years old. If you use their figures and you go right down to it right now, we're $200,000 negative in the hole. So my suggestion is, let's wait till we get at the end of the year, till we can see exactly what we got and what we can make a budget for next year. What we depend on, what we can depend on getting.
You're right. The resolution is gambling with funds that we don't even have yet, or we don't even know what we're going to have.
well, I'm 70 years old and I paid mine in January. It bothered me to have to pay it, but I'm like Darryl. When you look at people, the Lord's blessed me and I'm able to pay it. It caused me to maybe cook supper 2 extra times instead of going out to eat. But I'm like Darryl, you know, I think about these people that don't have anything. They're feeding kids, 4 or 5 kids, and they don't have it to feed them. And, you know, if we do anything, don't worry about me. You know, I'll come up with the $40. Don't worry about me. Worry about these poverty people. This, you know, this is just not, to me, it's not feasible. First of all, we can't jump ship in the middle of the year. We're gonna have to carry this on out to the end of the year to see where we're at. My opinion is, if and when we can, like John Metz said, start backing off of this wheel tax.
Yeah.
You know, start backing off. If it's only $10 a year, give the people some hope that we're gonna back off of this thing and we're gonna get out of it. But I can't.
And
I can't see it.
I welcome any commissioner or anybody to come and go ride with me in my district. I'll take you and show you
Probably
why.
know where they're at.
Yeah, you know a lot of shit, and show you why I feel the way I do. These people not living in campers and storage buildings by their choice. And it's not like you think. They would like to do better. I've talked to them. They'd like to do better. They're doing the best they can. So I feel like if we don't watch, we're going to pick and choose, and we're going to be a respectable person, as I call it, and take care of JoJo here that's worth $1 million, and forget about Miss Gail over here that's worth $15,000 a year or less. Well, that's my opinion on what we're dealing with. And I've even been asked, why are we still dealing with this? And I said, well, I didn't put the resolution in.
Well, I'm sure this will be a extensive, debatable resolution on the floor. But one thing for the budget committee to look at between now and then, and I urge you to talk with Nicole, is look at the dollar figures to this. There's no dollar figures tied to the resolution as far as what we would have to make up to come up with it. So we'll need to do we'll need to get some kind of numbers on that. So if it does come up, if it does pass, we can explain how much money we're going to have to come up with.
The other thing to consider is the administrative burden it's going to put on the county clerk's office. There's an additional stipulation here now. It's 1 per household. I think that's going to require her to ask her clerks to take additional measures to verify. They're going to have some way to verify, well, one spouse has paid it or has not paid it, so this spouse owes it, which could cause longer wait times, which could cause unhappy citizens that could take it out on the county clerk's office when they're just trying to implement what the county commission has passed.
It is going to require, that you put in an address for each person that comes in that shows us the proof that they are 70 years or above. It's going to take some time to go back and research those because, if you've got a brother and a sister that both live in the same household that are elderly, which sometimes happens, if Mary's the first one to come in and renew, then her brother is not going to get the $40 reduction. So it is going to require some extra time to look those up, and we're not going to be 100% accurate.
Okay. Well,
I can't support it. I mean, the only deciding criteria is they're 70 years old. Well, I don't think there's anything that says when you get 70 that you win a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I can't support it.
But, too, you talk about it, I've got emails from people in my district that's over 70 years old telling me to leave it alone.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
I've just been sitting here thinking, I work with the elderly all the time. It's not the elderly you're gonna have to worry about. They pay their bills,
Right.
and they've always paid their bills.
Right.
And they've done away with things to pay their bills. So it's time for everybody to step up to the bat and everybody pay the bill, So it's not the elderly complaining about it. I've not heard one person complain about it.
I've got 8 vehicles, the Lord lets me live 10 years, I'll be 70. I'll sell a few of them, part of one, I guess, but that's my choice.
you have something, you want to speak, Mr. Martin?
Yeah, I was at the grocery store here not long ago. There was a guy in there and he was complaining, talking to his wife, he's complaining about the $40 wheel tax, and he didn't look like he had anything. He was a younger fellow. But he goes out and he gets 6 cartons of cigarettes. $296 and pays for it.
Yeah.
I got no sympathy for somebody like that. I mean, I hate it that they're like that, but my goodness gracious, they just forget one carton of cigarettes for a year. That's one carton of cigarettes is all they have to give up. I mean, that's all I'm trying to say. You help somebody, but you got to see that they're trying to help themselves.
Half a cigarette a day.
Okay, let's move on through this agenda. This will be a highly debatable issue on the commission floor, I'm sure. So we don't even have to take a vote on it because it's going to the floor regardless. If somebody wants to make a motion that the budget committee's in support of it, I'll entertain that. If I don't hear that, then we'll just let it be if it is. Okay, moving on, resolution 2018-0202, approval for one-time contribution, $30,000 to Hawkins County Emergency Medical Services. Let me kind of bring everybody up to date on this. When Hawkins County EMS was tasked with taking over the whole county as the EMS service provider, at the time we were budgeting $60,000 a year to our EMS. We were budgeting $30,000 to Hawkins County, $30,000 to Churchill. When Hawkins County acquired the whole county, when Churchill EMS went out, Hawkins County EMS still received the $30,000, even though they were taking on the whole county. When the budget passed, they said if it got to the point they felt that they were going to have additional funds to get through, that they would come back to us. I do want to apologize to the Public Safety Committee. I'm not 100% sure why this didn't come through them first. Commissioner Palmer, who chairs that committee, was made aware of it, and we discussed this resolution, and that's how we got to this point. Director Merle, if you want to elaborate on this and give us some details how this came about. And
as you were saying, once Churchill EMS went out of business and Hawkins County took over, that $30,000 that was going to Churchill just did not come to us. So we took on the task of providing ambulance service to the whole county. With that being said, with the turnover of EMS and the inadequate staffing for every service around the nation, the only way to continue staffing the 6 trucks that we normally do 24 hours a day, we have to pay a lot of overtime. Well, when you pay the overtime, that factors into your workman's comp. So this past year, so far, we got the bill in January for an upfront cost of $20,000 that we had to pay them right then, no payment plan, as well as an estimated $30,000 is going to come to you in March to catch up for the extra overtime that we had last year. I've heard people say that we've thrown away that $30,000 that we received, and I don't feel that that is true. If y'all want a copy of this, it's our major expenditures for a month, and then it extends out for a year if y'all like a copy of it.
If you have enough for each member?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Just give it, because I will need a copy of it.
Okay. As you can see, just expenditures without payroll. On average for last year, we're spending out almost $74,000. That's not counting payroll. Our normal payroll, if we was completely staffed with no extra overtime, should run us roughly about 58 to 61,000 a pay period. Our pay periods are costing us 70 to 75,000 every pay period. So on average, that'd be 72.5. You double that because usually you have 2 pay periods in a month. You're looking at 145,000 just in payroll. And then our average revenue for a month is roughly around 223,000, and as you said, it extends out there to 2.6, almost 2.7. And
You wouldn't happen to have a revenue flow chart or anything that showed how your revenues are?
I can tell you, I don't have a chart, no, but, on average, we get a report from our billing company that says, it's called cash per call. That's the average cash that we get from insurance payments or private payments or anything like that, and the last report that we got was $285 per call.
Jason, why is your overtime so high? You not have enough people, or?
No, nobody does. We've not shut a truck down unless it's momentarily while crews are coming from another station to that station or something like that. Other counties are shutting trucks down because they don't have the personnel to do it. It's just a EMS staffing shortage. It's nationwide. Nobody wants to get into EMS anymore.
What about part-time employees? Are you using a bunch of part-time employees?
We
to
use
try to
them
help
the
fill
most that we
trucks?
can.
What happens if commission don't give you this, Jason?
We'll go and we'll do what we can, but the possibility of shutting the truck down is very, very possible.
Shutting a truck?
Yeah.
Are y'all able to answer all calls every day?
Occasionally we do get busy, and we do have another county. If we have a truck, only one truck in the county, and it posts in the middle of the county, and there's a call, say in Mooresburg, right there at the county line, we usually request, like Granger County's Bean Station truck, to see if they're available to run that call, so that way there's not an extended delay in response.
What happens if they can't hit?
Then that ambulance responds to the call. The ambulance goes ahead and starts responding until we get word from dispatch saying whether or not that they can.
How many ambulances do you have running average in a day's time?
We have 6 24-hour trucks. Occasionally we'll have 7, and on a real busy day of scheduled calls like doctor's appointments, stuff like that, we may have 8.
You saying shut down a truck, is that a couple of you medics too? Or?
Now see, if we shut a truck down, one is the personnel would still be employed. Nobody would lose their job. It would just be a area that wouldn't have an ambulance, and then it's going to tax the ones that are still running the 5 trucks to even running more calls when they're already running almost 24/7.
Jason, does Creeks work with you on that again?
I know that they have responded to 1 or 2 calls when we've needed them to. It might have been more than 1 or 2, but I know that they have responded to some when we've been extremely busy and requested them.
I do know this, once the Churchill EMS went out, y'all stepped up to the plate, and without that, in our end up there, we would have had to be doing something to get EMS. Churchill, because we were been out animal service. What I'm looking at here, if this is our citizens, and if they need help, I think we ought to help.
Jason, when did you get your last quarterly check?
January. 1st of January.
That was your last one?
Yes.
We went ahead and paid the 4th quarter. We paid it in February, I think.
Was it February?
Yeah, early February.
I've not got that report on February yet, so.
I think it was early February.
If this resolution goes forward and it passes, I guess how do you feel like you're gonna have to come back and have more?
Come back and ask for more? I don't feel that we'd have to ask for more, no. I don't. When I say more, as in an additional money to that $30,000, is that what you're asking? I want to make sure that I'm
Right,
asking the right
is it
question.
gonna be 3 months down the road, is this gonna be something it's gonna be like a revolving door every few months? Or are we gonna have to fund money?
No, not every few months, no. No, I do, like, when we done the budget hearing this past year, I do feel that EMS, since we took the whole county, should be allotted that 60,000 that was previously allocated for EMS to run the whole county.
Well,
And
everybody sitting on this board, I think, does too, but when we're faced with resolutions,
right,
that's gonna affect the revenue, like I said a while ago, we're kind of gambling with funds that we really don't know what the funds are gonna be at the end of the day. We don't have a clear projection of what we're gonna be at the end of the cycle, at the end of this fiscal year. And we set $10 aside out of the wheel tax to help fund with public safety. So the goal is, when we start doing next year's budget, 18-19, the $10 that's been set aside for public safety will go towards making the public safety's budgets and the contributions that we give. And it will alleviate the money we've been using from general fund, go into that, into the $400-some thousand dollars it was set in general fund. We were already late collecting. We don't know who we don't know what we're gonna be, and with this wheel tax reduction resolution coming forward, I'm probably not gonna have any other thing to do but to pull this 30,000 to EMS, because I don't know what the money's gonna be. So you might want to prepare for that, because especially if the wheel tax resolution passes, because we're not going to know what our funding is going to be at that point. We don't know what it's going to touch, so we're not going to have any way of knowing. So we're going to be putting money out there. Money's going to a good cause. Everything that the budget has funded, when I've gone through the budget, is going to a good cause. You know, you have good fire protection, you have good EMS, but if you want to fund it, you got to fund it. Right. You can't talk out of both sides of the commissioner can't talk out of both sides of his mouth and want to reduce everybody's taxes, but then fund everybody's service too. So it's got to be a happy medium there. We've got to come together on that. And I understand that you need it, but I also understand I've got a budget that I've got to help stay in confines with too, same as you do with your agency.
Let me ask something. Come on, I'm just looking at this. You've got somebody that builds.
We have a company that
does that.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask this: once you get payment from the insurance company, are they going and billing the people?
Yes.
Are they billing them?
Yes.
You sure they are?
We are having some issues with our billing company. We have addressed those issues. To my knowledge, yes, they are being billed. Okay.
You need to look at that carefully. Because I kind of know something that I'll tell you here after a while.
I appreciate that.
I told you that. Because I'm not being billed.
What's the lead time? The time to take a patient to the hospital and all the insurance pays and you send the patient to the bills? How much time goes past that?
Okay. Way it works, usually within 3 to 4 days of us transporting someone, it goes to billing. In other words, the insurance company or the patient is supposed to be billed. Then it's just that turnaround time for the insurance company. It may be turned over to the insurance company, and the patient would still continue to receive a bill until the insurance company pays. And then they would get a revised bill, the patient would, of what the insurance paid. But on average, turnaround time for a complete bill to be paid, if the patient's able to pay the full amount that remains, you're looking at about 3 months. Okay. 2 to 3 months.
Okay. Does your billing company that you're using, do they charge a flat rate or do they charge so much per?
It's a percentage.
Percentage
of what reimbursement we get.
Okay. the percentage across the board, or does each person get a different percentage?
No, it's across the board.
We'll do everything we can do, but it's gonna be based on revenue and expenditures. And, if something happens that we're not able to get it to you this time, we'll have to look at it stronger in next year's budget. We can only work with the funds we're down.
I understand.
I mean, the EMS, the rescue squads, every fire department in the county that sits in front of us has got a good reason for why they need the funds that they ask for. We're just financially not able to do it. And when this budget was passed this past year, it had it with a $30,000 donation to you all, to Hawkins EMS. And so any additional funds, you know, to go towards the EMS would come from the fund balance. And so we're spending it. You know, this resolution is to spend more fund balance. The previous resolution is to cut fund balance. And unfortunately, that's what's got us where we're at now. We're trying to eliminate that and work within our means. But we'll just have to look at it and do what we can do.
So I do have a question about Mr. Christian's statement earlier. So currently on the wheel tax, we don't have, the county has no intake from, no revenue from it. Is that the way I'm understanding? I just want to make sure I understand.
If you take up the people that had the resolution last month about the 80 years old, if you take their budget that they handed out and you use their figures and you use the figures from the wheel tax report in Ms. Davis' census, at this time you would be $200,000 negative. And we're talking about this wheel tax now. So you ain't got no money in wheel tax.
I was just making sure I understood what you said.
There's a 30,000, isn't there? And there's money available less than that at some time. It's feasible to pay so much a month, something like that.
You could, just remember, for every dime you spend, you've got to account for that on the revenue side somewhere. So remember, everything you vote and that we vote and put out there as expenditure, it's got to come from. You got to get A to pay B. It's got to come from somewhere.
Well, too, if you really look at what it costs to operate the county budget per month and consider you've got 5 months left, to me, I'm going to be real cautious because number one, I don't know exactly where we want to be at when we get to June the 30th. There's a possibility you could have a negative. Yeah. Yeah, because if you look at, 5 months and look where you're at now, and you can't depend on anything as of right now for the past 7 months on wheel tax, because it is not there.
It's not us wanting to not fund you. We just.
Yeah. I wish we could, because I really appreciate y'all stepping up, because like I say, if y'all had done that, we wouldn't have had it. But like he says, every bit of money that you spend right now, you want to take it out over here, so. And I work on numbers. I keep up with this stuff. I may not say anything because I'm amazed with what I'm hearing, but I keep up with it. I know what's going on.
Is your billing company, are they under a contract?
Yes.
And if so, when are they up for renewal?
The contract automatically renews, but we have to give them 30 days notice. Is that not correct? 30 days notice if we want to terminate contract. And then we're at the mercy if they continue billing like, they should, or they just hold things
down with them and renegotiate the contract per se?
Per se, they, sometimes are difficult to get hold of sometimes.
Anybody else have any other questions regarding this resolution? Thank you, Judge. If you look at resolution 2018-0208, it's just approval to assign Donna and Marilla Schultz a lease agreement with Hawkins County for a hangar at Hawkins County Airport to Jefferson Cantrell for the remainder of the said lease. This doesn't involve any money with us, and this is this hangar doesn't revert back to us until 2024, but the current owner is coming out of his lease and reassigning it to Jefferson Cantrell. Anybody have any questions on that, just so there's no confusion? We will not receive any money on that hangar until after 24. That was way back when they started building them on the 20-year plan they had them free for 20 years. The resolution 2018-0210, the budget amendment to the general fund, the register of deeds. You'll see in the decreased line items for a total of $6,940 for a total amended budget of $128,390. And the additional money is required in office equipment for the map scanner. It is broken, it's too old to get parts repaired. The scanner is required to record maps. This comes with a small annual service agreement to be paid from the maintenance agreement. The funding will come from a transfer within the budget and the register reserve. No new money is required. Parks and Fair Board. You'll see the increase to other contract services for $1,000, for other capital outlay $5,850. For total on the expenditure $6,850. Decrease of $1,300 for amended budget of $106,400. And then at the bottom, the increase in the revenue. Contributions and gifts increased $700. Insurance recover $4,850. Subtotal $5,550 for an amended budget of $6,050. The additional money is being budgeted in the parks budget for insurance money received for the gate at Laurel Run Park. This gate repair was paid from other capital outlay. $1,000 deductible required for us is being transferred from other construction line items. Also, a $700 contribution was donated by the Ruatan Club for the playground equipment at Laurel Run Park. This money is being added to other contract services for work done at the playground equipment, as well as transfer from other supplies and materials to cover necessary expenses. Page 2, General Sessions Court Evaluation and Testing increase of $2,500 for amended budget $3,900. Decrease in rentals $500. Decrease in data processing equipment $2,000. For a total amended budget of $5,200. Additional money is needed in the evaluation and testing line. The cases brought before the court this fiscal year require more mental evaluation to determine competency than in years past. There's no money to predict when these circumstances will arise or at what frequency. This is a transfer from within the general sessions budget. This next on the EMA, this is not tied with this one, is it?
No, separate.
Okay. Emergency management communications equipment increase of $7,000. Other contracted service decrease of $7,000. For a total amended budget of $12,000. This additional money is needed in the communications equipment line item for repairs at the town knob radio site. This function will come from the transfer within the EMA budget. Senior citizens assistance, increase in travel of $714, increase in other equipment $354, decrease in transportation other than students $354, gasoline $514, custodial supplies $100, and office supplies $100. For a total amended budget of $14,500. Additional funds were needed in travel for the 2 conferences the senior citizens director attends. This funding is to attend the conference came from center fundraiser money due to budget cuts, as well as transfers within the senior citizens budget. Also, money is being transferred from the transportation line to other equipment for steps purchased for the van that hauls seniors. This comes from grant funding and does not involve any county money. Now, that is resolution 10. Is there any questions regarding any of the department heads that I just read off? Hearing no questions from any department heads, I'll entertain a motion to send these budget amendments on to the full commission.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Gillum, second by Commissioner Davis. All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2018-0211, resolution budgeting for solid waste, increase expenditures for the land, that's $30,000, a decrease in the unassigned fund balance for a total amended budget of $656,666. The above budget increase is needed to provide appropriations for purchasing the Burem Convenience Center acreage and an additional 0.61 acres as approved by County Commission by out of order resolution 2017-0701. Funding will come from unassigned fund balance in the solid waste. Like I said on that last sentence, funding for this purchase of the land is coming out of solid waste fund. There's no general fund money involved in this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I see a correction. I apologize. On the land, that should be 0 for current budget, and we're increasing land 30,000 because we didn't have anything originally budgeted. I apologize about that. That current budget should have been 0. The 30,000 is the increase, so that you have it. You see that? I can correct that and give that to. We'll mail that out, but we also want to see what you do on this to see if we can mail them both, assuming you approve that one.
On the amendment?
Yeah, because that's an amendment to to the one you just passed. So I don't know if you wanted to go ahead and talk about that with the general fund.
Well, this is amendment to the first resolution, to the first
Okay.
amendment to the amendment. Did I hear a motion we send, or do you have any questions for the land purchase? I think that was covered extensively in County Commission and in Solid Waste Committee as far as the land being involved. But does anybody have any questions related to that? Motion by Commissioner Davis, send this on full commission. Second by Commissioner Christian. All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Step back to the amendment to the resolution 2018-0210, which is on the EMA budget. Actually, I'll just let Nicole explain this resolution.
Okay. Gary. Okay.
She can do it.
We're addressing a couple of items with this amendment to the general fund budget amendment. One thing, they desire to purchase a 1-channel transmitter at Short Mountain, and in order to do that, we're using funds from a couple of sources. One being, there was some money, a liability in last year's budget in accounts payable set aside to Central Communications, which was the previous vendor. Now AMK is providing those services, so in order to get that money out of Central Communications and into AMK, what we have to do is increase the fund balance by the amount that we had set aside for Central Communications, which is $11,875, decrease the accounts payable line item where this liability was, which zeroes out our accounts payable liability, and then, so we're adding its fund balance, increasing our fund balance, and then we're decreasing fund balance by that same amount, so we have a net 0 effect on fund balance because we're amending it into the EMA budget, because we're using the $11,875 plus, if commission and committee approves, workers' comp premium refund, a portion of that, to put that into the communications equipment line item to purchase a 1-channel transmitter. Cost of that is approximately $24,500. In addition to that, there was a lightning storm that happened at Short Mountain, and we're getting some insurance recovery money in the amount of $1,779. So we're also adding that to the communications equipment line item. So we're we're asking to increase the communications equipment line item by $27,279. That is to purchase a one-channel transmitter, as well as the replacing the power supplies at Short Mountain due to the lightning storm, which includes a battery pack and a couple of other things. So even though we're having to adjust fund balance budget, we increase it by $11,875, and then we decrease it because we're moving that money into the EMA budget.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes. I'm just curious about something. Seems like every so often we come in, either in this or in the county commission meeting, we come in with problems involving the radios, the radio towers, communications with the sheriff's office, not being able to communicate with dead radios or radios that's dead, things like that. I'm curious, with all the money we're spending, right here we're talking about getting a one-channel transmitter. What happens if that one channel shuts down? Are we right back to square zero?
Mr. Barrett, this goes along with the $50,000 proposal that you received several months ago, last year in March. It's continued on. There was no way. We kept presenting it to the Public Safety Committee. Nicole working, I know Bob's been working with it also. There was no $50,000, okay, to put 3 transmitters down there to make it a 3 transmitter site like the other two, okay? That was the goal of the system. We have come up with the $11,000 that we had left from Central Communications, moving it around, not new money. And we have, I think, am I correct in saying the workman's comp part?
Portion of
that to put a one transmitter for the sheriff's department. They still got the others. It makes it a complete system for the sheriff's department. It leaves the EMS and the fire department, excuse me, like it is. Because we can't afford it right now. We're not asking for new money, we're just trying to get what we can with what we've got. Now, in answer to this here on Town Hall, I can't help what happens to equipment. It's man-made. The antenna system that we're using right now for the main system apparently has got water in the antenna on top of the mountain and in the coax. That's when he found it. We're at 50% on Town Hall. Short Mountain was hit by lightning. Can't help that. We're going to have that. But now this other is the one-time thing. I mean, it puts it like what we started to do. Correct me, Stacy, was it last March when I brought this in here? And we just couldn't because of the finances, so we've got it to where they will put in one, because the sheriff's department is one that's having the most trouble with the communications. And that's what we're trying to do, is take care of what we can, while we can, as we can. With the money that we've got.
With just the one channel, I mean, I guess I'm curious about why it's just one channel.
Because it's 24 to put in for one for the sheriff's department, it's 50,000 to put in for the sheriff, EMS, and fire.
Okay, but if we lose this one channel, what happens?
You'll be back just like you all do now.
Like what we're on now?
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be the same difference. If you lose Town Hall completely, we're at 50%, we lose Town Hall completely, we're down in this area here. There's nothing we can do about it.
Do you, Gary, do you eventually foresee in the future having, like, if one tower shuts down, the other towers be able to back it up?
Well, that's what, if we have a transmitter at each site, we can do that.
Okay.
But now, in the foreseeable future, way down the road, I see bigger and better things coming, countywide. But it comes with a cost.
I'm just curious, but it's like every time, you know,
and right now, we don't have cost, okay? So we gotta start saving now for years down the road.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to send this amendment on with that resolution. Motion by Commissioner Christian, second by Commissioner Kimbrough. All in favor, let it know, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2018-02-12, budget amendment to the highway fund. You see the decreased line items for a total of $23,000 with an amended budget of $1,548,600. The above increase in line item 399 is needed to finish paving Dotson Lane, and the above increase in 790 is needed to purchase a new transmission jack. The above increase will be funded by transfers within the highway fund. Have any questions regarding those transfers?
Where is Dotson Lane?
Dotson Lane runs off Fairview Avenue off Carter's Valley. It's where it goes into Lancaster subdivision.
I make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Kim Brown, seconded by Commissioner Christian. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. General purpose school fund budget. Original budget amount $54,120,005. Previous amendments was $160,070.31 for a total of $54,280,075.31. Requested amendment is $259,948.13 for a total of $54,539,923.44. And you see the reasons listed below, and we also have the budget director, Mr. Starnes here. Is there anything you want to say on behalf of this?
Are the increases like for the supervisor and director here at Health Services, is it because the increase in years?
That was actually just an error in the original budget. It was just a mistake in her salary calculation in the original budget. She's not getting an increase or anything. She should have had actually.
I know there was several school districts throughout the state that was affected, some negatively, some positive, by the recalculation of the DEP funds. And I'm assuming that will probably be discussed extensively in the full commission meeting. Can you give us a rundown on how much money we took in from this and where the board has reappropriated this within the school budget?
Okay, we were notified that there was an error in the BP calculation by the Comptroller's Office of Research and Education Accountability. This is the second year they have done a recheck on their calculations. So we received an additional $210,000 in BDP funds. If you'll look on this amendment that you're looking at now, you'll see basic education program down there at the bottom, revenue 46511, increase of $250,000. Now the reason that's $250,000, we also received an additional $140,000 increase for the changes in the increase in the health insurance. This is the second year that we've received an increase in BP funds from the state for health insurance changes. So the 140 and the 210 is a total of 350. The other 100,000 is over on the transportation amendment, but you'll see that when you get there. So if you'll look here, out of the 250,000, if you look at what has the number 5 beside of it, no, I'm sorry, this one's different. It's different. Number 2 up here, this $8,020, that is part of EP funds. The $5,398.13, that is a grant. So I'm just kind of going down the page. All of these additions in the health services, that is actually part from the BP funds. The coordinated school health you see there is just actually moving from line to line. The $1,450, that was actually a Tennessee Arts Commission grant. I'm sorry, no, that's the stakeholders publication donations. The $3,000 in other contracted services, that is part of the BP funds. And the 2107 in the human resources. No, the 3,000 was the Tennessee Arts, I'm sorry. And then the 2107, that is part of the VP funds. So out of the 250, if you take those smaller things out, you'll see the remainder, 227,715, is being put in building improvements.
What is the, on the 399 on the other contracted services where there's 3,000, there was nothing current budget for that. What would that be for?
That is a grant for JRP from the Tennessee Arts Commission.
And up under 189, the 3450 on the increase, but it's showing there was no current budget under that for salaries and wages.
What that is, at the schools, we have what they call morning mile facilitators. There's some, I don't know if it's students and teachers both that come in and walk of the mornings. This is part of a coordinated school health grant, and it's just moving money so that we can pay those morning mile facilitators, the people that actually oversee that program through the coordinated school health grant.
So that 3450 is grant money? Just being ready
It's
for program.
tricky.
Yes.
It's tricky. High school, only one that's involved in that.
I am not sure. Erica Phillips is over the coordinated school health, and I can check with her and get you an answer on that. I'm not sure.
I see it just says CHS.
No, that stands for, it's CSH, Coordinated School Health.
Okay.
That's what that's for.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion, we send this on full commission. Motion by Commissioner Christian, have a second. Second by Commissioner Barry. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2018-02-14, a resolution to the federal, reference to federal projects fund budget amendment. The original budget was $1,778,000, $454.83. Previous amendments, $991,657.53, for a total of $2,770,000, $112.36. Requested amendment, $19,890, for a total of $2,750,222.36. And if you'll look, you'll see
This is actually for two programs, Title I and IDEA preschool. And you'll notice that is a negative amount. Title I actually lost $21,106, and the IDA preschool actually gained $1,216. So as the state takes money away and gives you more money, we have to reallocate the funds. So that's what you'll see there. And then at the school levels, they go in and have to change their monies at the school levels when the money's taken away as a whole.
any questions regarding this transfer? Hearing none, entertain a motion, send on full commission. Motion by Commissioner Christian, have a second. Second by Commissioner Palmer. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 2018-02-15, school transportation fund budget amendments. Original budget amount was $3,586,254. Requested budget amendment is $100,000 for a total of $3,686,254. And this is to increase the bus driver line item to cover the expense of school trips, to budget mid-year increase in the BEP funds. Do we have any questions regarding this? Anything you want to add to that?
No, that's the other $100,000 I was referring to as the $350 in a whole, and we were a little short in this line last year, so we just wanted to make sure we've got enough to cover trips. You know, gas and things are more expensive now than they were, and of course, if there's anything left in the line item, it will go into the fund balance.
Correct. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to this on full commission. Motion by Commissioner Barrett, second by Commissioner Christian. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Palmer. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand in adjourned.
Okay, so. Thank you very much.
think that